Europe's restricted zones are our favorite holiday destinations. As dark tourists, this time the thrill of the forbidden was taking us to off-limit parts in and around Hungary. On a 5-day road trip, we were camping at secluded areas at night to bring undisclosed locations to light at sunrise. From vehicle graveyards as we've never seen them before, to historical power plants protected by security, we have infiltrated some of the most fascinating abandoned sites you can imagine. In our new series, completely shot in 4K, we are documenting decay and experience history firsthand in a quality better than ever. Join our journey to Europe's forbidden paradises. If you enjoy our videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button and click the bell to get notified when we upload new content. And so it began. Near Dresden, in the eastern part of Germany, we started our adventure. At first, Till, who was the driver for this trip, picked up Marco. Together we drove to Cornelius, and the three of us then traveled 500 kilometers by car to Austria, where we wanted to meet with the fourth crew member for our latest road trip. A few words about our imminent journey. For the first 5 days of May, we were planning an Urbex adventure in Hungary. The country is offering some of the coolest abandoned places we know. The stakes were high though. This could become our most rewarding trip yet, but it was for sure the riskiest one. That's why we were glad to have a guide at our side again. After 5 hours of driving, we finally arrived in Austria, where we planned to pick him up. It was Toby, who already helped the proper people and us in July 2018 to find Italy's sickest abandoned structures. Immediately after that trip last summer, he became a member of the BWT crew. Only a few weeks before we started our Hungary adventure, he has already traveled there to explore nearly all the places we were planning to see on our journey. So he had all the information to keep us safe from security and police. In a group of 4, we were directly heading to our first destination at an undisclosed location somewhere in Austria. The first high-risk, high-reward place. After we immediately captured the attention of a neighbor when trespassing the property, we were searching for alternative ways to get inside this small factory hall unseen. But there was simply no other access point. This should be the only failure on our whole tour. This is what we've missed. Toby managed to get inside quite a while ago without getting seen. To prevent this site from getting too famous and overrun, we won't share any historical info. But we will show you what we've explored instead. After a few hours of driving, we came closer to the Hungarian border and spotted this. Still located in Austria, this impressive country chateau has a history that dates back to the Middle Ages. Back then, there was a fortress located here, which was supposed to be a shield against Magyars. Since the complex was fortified and armed really well, it could last for centuries. After several changes of owners, a young monarch ordered to knock down the old buildings though. He was rejecting the pomp and scrollwork of the late Baroque. Instead, he had his classist-style lodge built. Still today, this 4,000 square meters big building is existing in a similar form. We only had 1 hour of sunlight left. This heritage-protected monument was the first real exploration on our road trip. Already at the outer walls there was plenty of graffiti. The inside looked stripped and vandalized. We didn't have any expectations, but we were sure that we were able to find something interesting left behind. After many years of vacancy, this structure requires substantial renovation. Due to moisture, the building stock is dangerously unstable in some places. Several ceilings have already collapsed. Many of the rooms can't even be entered anymore. Even on sunny days, large parts of the castle are pitch black. That's because a lot of the windows were boarded up. However, this couldn't keep the intruders from pulling apart the building. The splendor you see here nowadays is only a pitiful remnant from what you were able to experience in the palace in the past. Scribblings on the walls and furniture ornaments, door mountings as well as parquet, which all was stolen bit by bit, are testifying the accelerated decay of this site. But if you look closely, you are still able to see the beauty.
Das ist nicht die Mitte.
Nee, das ist nicht die Mitte.
Noch ein bisschen.
Noch ein bisschen.
Also
nach
unten? Ja, 30, 40 cm mindestens.
Boah.
Jetzt ja.
The centerpiece of the three-floor building complex probably was the oval chapel, whose dome is decorated with lovely frescoes. To break down the further history of this castle into main parts, in the 19th century a military hospital was placed here. Later a sanatorium for patients with lung diseases. In the 20th century it was then used as an apartment building for around 50 families. The last tenant didn't move out until the year 2000. Since then, the historical building complex has been vacant. For years on end, every plan for redevelopment failed. But now there's actually hope. A real estate developer purchased the property after he saw it during a landing approach on a major airport. He immediately fell in love with this place. Now this manor is supposed to be turned into a big and modern health center. In order to do that, multiple buildings are planned to be constructed in the extensive park of the castle. Among others, clinic staff and patients are supposed to live here. This is a many million euros expensive project, which exists only on paper to date. The residents of the small village are skeptical about the plan at the moment. Only in the upcoming months we will see if the construction gets approved or not. For us, it now was high time to move on. We still had a long ride ahead of us. We had to pitch our tents early, because on the day after, we were planning to explore some places which should put this one in the shade by far. Now this is how we want to start our days. Waking up on the rooftop of an abandoned house in the middle of nowhere, delicious coffee with a view to our next destination. What looks like it could be a fallen Disney castle is actually one of the last relics of the once largest military base in Europe. You see, we didn't promise too much when we said that Hungary has unique abandoned structures. You're probably here because you like how we always tell the history of the places. So here we go again. The palatial building can be easily mistaken for one of the many old castles you can find in Hungary. But actually this was the former main building of the barracks. The 3-floor manor with an overall area of 6,000 square meters has become the landmark of the military camp thanks to its 50 meters high tower. In the beginning of the 20th century, Franz Joseph I, Emperor of Austria-Hungary, which used to be a dual monarchy back then, erected this military settlement. Here the artillery of the army was trained. For that, several buildings were constructed. You could find everything here that you needed for life, and more. So for example, there was an own sewage plant, an airship hangar, and an ice factory. The self-sufficient camp was growing so much that it even had its own currency for a while. It was available in 2 languages, Hungarian and German. Several thousand soldiers were housed here at peak times. But 30 years ago, the military withdrew. Since then, it's been open season for explorers. We were excited to see what was hidden in the main building of the barracks. Until today, most buildings of the military base were already torn down or refurbished. In addition, new houses were built for the residents of the village. This makes the whole place really obscure. Directly next to the impressive ruin, people are living in apartment blocks. From time to time, also children are playing inside the derelict building complex. Luckily, nobody bothered when we entered the premises. The access was super easy, and already in the entrance hall we found first signs of vandalism, but also imposing palatial architecture. A scenery as we know it from many abandoned places. Color lids peeling off and plaster falling off the ceilings. All the rooms are empty and there wasn't much left behind to discover. We can only guess how the many rooms here were being used in the past. But one thing is clear, this building was built to last. Especially amazing was the courtyard in our opinion. This was never a garden, but after several decades of vacancy, dense undergrowth with multiple meters high plants sprung up. A tale created by the many adventurous people was leading us to the other side of the building complex. Also here, the scenery continues. Graffiti and long stripped corridors. With one exception. A saloon which probably was reserved for the command personnel only. At first this was used as a dining hall and lounge, and later even as a cinema. The many details are reminding of better days. This is how it looked back then. During World War I, large parts of the city were used to lock up prisoners of war from Serbia, Russia and Italy. After the end of monarchy in 1918, prisoners of war were replaced with prisoners of conscience. Between both world wars, the military camp was mainly used as a shooting range. Every new weapon which was developed or purchased by Hungary was tested here first. In 1944, German occupying forces took over the territory. Hungary was an ally to the Nazi German Reich. After the Second World War, Soviet troops then moved in. Large parts of the base were completely rebuilt. During the entire duration of the Cold War, the USSR military was garrisoned here. Only in 1990, soldiers were sent home. Since then, the main building has been decaying. As already mentioned, many other houses were repurposed or demolished. Only a few kilometers next to this place, a huge new military camp was constructed for the Hungarian army. Exploring the premises had a special post-apocalyptic vibe, since we could hear the firing practices. Today, the 100-year-old ghost tower sits enthroned over the small village somewhere in Hungary and is a remnant of the region's moving past. This was a worthy kick-off to our Hungary journey. 700 kilometers away from home, we were ready to explore some of the best abandoned places we knew so far. To get there, we traveled considerable distances in those following days. But before we get to all the dodgy and well-protected sites, we decided to present you the easier but more grand buildings. We continue with that in the second episode. If you think that today's palaces already had a gorgeous architecture, the next video will blow your mind. Promise. These photos were taken by Toby. On his Instagram profile you can find more images of staggering abandoned sites all over Europe. To view our pictures, however, which are displayed now, just follow us on social media too. And if you want to download our full photo database in high quality, support us on Patreon. For only $1 per month, we grant you access. You'll find all the links in the video description. Next time on Broken Window Theory. Once, this was one of the most beautiful ballrooms in the whole of Hungary. But 10 years ago, there was the last show in this historical cinema. Since then, the place is decaying and an insider's tip of the local Urbex community. Never before we've seen any photos or videos of this building complex shot by international explorers. So we didn't know what we were getting into when we arranged to meet two French guys here. But the whole exploration was overwhelming for us. We haven't seen an abandoned place with such an impressive architecture for a long time. This was the first episode of our 5-part road trip series. Which abandoned places are you looking forward the most? Follow us on Instagram and Facebook if you would like to get live updates of our adventures. And for more high quality videos, support us on Patreon, because only the help over there has made this road trip possible in the first place.